Why does it take so long? One of the things that's really frustrating about recovering from narcissistic abuse is the amount of time that it takes to recover. It would seem that we should be able to recognize what's going on, realize that the person is toxic and really bad for us, and just move on. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. What it ends up happening is we get stuck in these loops and these self-reflective nightmares where we're trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, how did it happen, what does it mean, what are they trying to say to us, what's really going on, and it really complicates the recovery process. That was one of the things that was really hard for me, because in the beginning of this, when I didn't really know what was going on, I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, trying to understand what happened. And in that, you're looking at your past, you're looking at everything that happened, and you're looking at what's happening now and trying to figure out what it all means and where it's coming from and what you can do about it. We're also going through a phase where we're trying to find some closure to this entire process. We really have a hard time trying to reconcile the fact that this meaningful relationship, or what we thought was a meaningful relationship, really meant nothing. Now, in the beginning stages of this, when you don't really know what's going on, you're going through that discard phase or the silent treatment, or basically you've been cast away like you mean nothing. And you're trying to figure out what that actually means, because you can't understand how everything was a lie. Now, I've made videos about living in the illusion and stuff like that, which is important, but to really delve into this, one of the significant problems that we run into is the amount of time that it takes for us to figure this stuff out. So what ends up happening is we're looking at the situation, we're trying to figure out why we're not recovering, why we're still stuck in this, why our progress is so slow, and it starts to drive us crazy. Because what happens is you start thinking about how long you think it should take to recover from this. You'll look at your friends and you'll see anyone else who's been through a breakup or a divorce, and they're able to move on fast. I had a friend of mine who, the divorce was really painful, but a year later he's remarried and moved on and everything's great. Whereas in my situation, and probably your situation, you feel like you're stuck. You feel like you're stuck in molasses and can't move forward. The critical important thing to know on this is, unfortunately, that is normal. Because of what we've been through, because of the trauma bonding, and because of everything that we've been through, we're so tied to this person that we just can't seem to escape it. It seems like it's like a gravitation. I talk a lot about that black hole, but in the early stages of it, it feels like that black hole has that gravitational pull that's trying to pull you into it. And you don't know what's going on, and you don't understand it, and you don't understand how someone can treat you like this. Now, the other hard part about this is, even once you start to figure out what you're dealing with, once you start to learn about narcissistic recovery, you're going to go through this phase where you think, hey, I have this all figured out. I get it now. I had this epiphany. And you'll feel like your progress should be just like a snowball effect. In some ways it actually is. In some ways you do start to recover faster. But what you have to be careful of is when you have a backslide, when something happens to basically suck you back into, not to the person, but into the drama, you can feel really devastated, because you feel like that feeling, that pain that you had before, that you just can't get away from it. Now, I know for me, when that happened to me, it was really devastating. I felt, when that initially happened the first time, that all the progress I had made had just been deleted, had been erased, and I was right back to where I was before, and I felt like I couldn't escape it. I felt like Like this is going to be my life forever. I will never be able to get through this. I will never escape this. This person will have this hold on me forever. And when that happens, guys, it's really painful, and it's actually really scary too, because you start to think that is the reality of it. And at that particular moment, it is the reality, right? Whenever you have that backslide, or anytime we have that backslide, you're going to feel like you're overwhelmed and you just can't make any progress. And no matter what you try to do, no matter what you tell yourself, you just can't get away from it. The thing is, guys, that's not true. You can get through this. You will get through it. You will have a life after this. You just have to get through the pain and the frustration, and you have to learn the skills to get through it, like the gray rock and the hybrid no contact, and how to interact with your kids again, and how to push your ex and those things out of your mind to be able to emotionally heal from all of this. The reason I want to talk about this is because I think a lot of times we get caught up in the idea of how fast we think this should go. That we should be able to get through this, and we should be able to separate from everything that this person has done and just move on and like erase them out of our mind. And it's really not that simple. It really seems like it should be that simple, but it's not. There's a lot of time and energy that we have to expend on this to heal from it. We have to get through the anger. We have to get through the hate. We have to get through the pain, the disappointment, the loss, the grief, all of those different things you have to get through. Now, I've talked about this before in other videos, that it's really critically important to try to document somehow or make a note of the improvements that you have made. And the reason that's critically important is because when you have those bad days, when you backslide, whenever something happens, when something, and it could be anywhere from some court thing, or it could just be as simple as your ex is able to either say something to you or someone else says something, and it's like your whole, what you think is a facade falls apart. And then you start to think that it is a facade, that you were just tricking yourself, lying to yourself, but you really can't escape it. When you find yourself in that position, you have to give yourself a break. You have to realize how painful and how difficult this is. Because if you don't, if you fall into that, when you're falling into that mode and you feel like everything is overwhelming and you can't get through it, it can consume you. Guys, I went through that same thing. There were times, throughout this process where I've talked about it before, where I've done this up and down, this cyclical processing of this. And when I would have those low times, I would forget all of everything that I had accomplished. And I would feel like it was, that I was kidding myself and it didn't really happen, or that this low is what my new life is. What helped me is to be able to realize and to see the improvements that I had, to be able to take a step back and look at some of the old journals that I've written, or just even to think about some of the comments that I had in my own head and how they were just a little bit different. And that the distance from feeling bad to good started to increase. And you have to be focused on that, guys, because you have to realize, you have to believe that you can get through this, that you will get through this, that you can get through this. And I know sometimes it feels like you can't. I know sometimes it feels like this whole situation has destroyed your life, destroyed who you are, and that you can't recover from it. And that's not true. It feels like it sometimes, and when you have those situations, you need to give yourself a break. You need to do whatever you can to recharge your batteries. You need to take a nap. You need to go do something you like. You need to go interact with someone else. You need to watch a comedy. You have to do something to give yourself some distance from that particular moment. If you have to tell yourself, okay, I'll think about that in an hour. You know what? Yes, everything is bad and it's not going to get any better. But you know what? I'm going to take a break and I'm going to watch a comedy. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go do something that doesn't feed into that depression and that catastrophic thinking, and give yourself a break. Because most of the time when you do that, when you take a pause, you will give yourself an opportunity to reset, to relook at what you're going through, and then come up with a different perspective. Or not in a different perspective, but come back to the positive perspective that you had before you hit that dip. Now, these dips are going to come and go as time goes on. And I would venture to guess that even after you have a significant amount of time under your belt, every once in a while something will happen. I mean, it's just a part of life where you'll get into one of those dips again. And the only difference is as you get farther along, you'll realize how ridiculous it is. And you'll be able to recognize it and go, seriously, I'm actually thinking this? And that's what you have to strive for. That's what you have to look forward to, not the other dips in the future, but looking forward to the fact that they become less and less pronounced as time goes on, and you get more distance from these people and this situation. Now, I get that it's really tough when you have kids, but it does get better. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. If you want to add something in the conversation in the comments below about how you've been able to, what happens whenever you get those dips, whenever the old reality comes crashing down, so to speak, put it in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe, and I will chat with you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.